This is Akashwani. Time for a weekly program, Our Guest. I hand over the mic to the show host, Nitish Arora, for the same.
It all started when I went to a graduation ceremony of a school, 10 plus 2, and the principal was very candid in admitting that although we are providing the best of education to our students, but I am afraid if they are ready for the market, because the market scenario is changing so very fast every day that academics cannot keep pace with the market. So it is in that context that we have invited Dr. Soumya Tripathi. She is a corporate trainer, facilitator, keynote speaker. Soumya ji, welcome to the studios, to our guest. And the topic happens to be from campus to the corporate, making youth market ready. Are you ready for it?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Nitish, for having me here.
So the principal was very frank and very candid, and admitting this in front of the parents when their wards are graduating. This is a big challenge for the parents and for the students also. You being into corporate training, you have seen both the worlds, one from the student's perspective, the other from the corporate perspective. So where is the dichotomy? Where do we want to make the bridge now?
Certainly, I think the principal was very right when she mentioned it. And Nitish, the changes that we have seen in last 50 years, we'll see faster changes in next 10 years. So yes, the world is very dynamic. The students are passing from schools or colleges with certain set of skills, and within next 3-4 years, they realize that those skills are redundant. The degrees are redundant, the technology has changed, the scope of work has changed. So I think that the need of the hour is being a student all your life. These days, being a
lifelong learning.
Lifelong learners, yes. Our studies won't end with schools. In fact, the real learning begins when we are out of school or college. So keeping a tap into what is changing, having our eyes and ears open to the changes in technology, the market demands, we have to upskill ourselves very constantly.
So many students also question nowadays, why should I study then? Should they start pretty early in life for the corporate world? Because the first hurdle, of course, is always an interview for the job. Now, for the interview, they need to have that elementary education. I mean, for a graduation also, I'll call it an elementary education. So, how do they approach an interview for a job once they have graduated?
So, yes, the success today depends on a combination of both the technical skills as well as your soft skills. There is a lot of focus on technical skills in schools and colleges. However, when it comes to soft skills, our exposure is really limited. We judge our performance, the performance of our children, on the basis of academics, which has very little to do with real life problem solving. So this is what I would suggest, that as you prepare for your interview preparation, also have an understanding of what is happening in the industry. So
that particular industry that you are approaching.
Whichever industry you want to join in, be it IT, manufacturing, service industry, you see what are the changes happening there. And also have an eye on the top 3 or 4 companies which you want to join. How are they progressing? What new technologies they are bringing? What new products they are launching into the market? What is the direction of that company? So when you go with that understanding into an interview, the interviewer also feels that yes, this child has a knack of the industry. So it puts you on a slightly higher pedestal than the rest of the students or the average student.
I mean, if I approach it from the other angle, approaching the right kind of industry with the right kind of attitude is kind of utopian, because the number of graduates in every field that we are having now and the number of vacancies that are coming up, there's a yawning gap. So the youngsters feel any opportunity that comes their way, they will fill it. And the first thing starts from their bio profile that they are required to make. Now they are using AI to make their profile. Is there anything that they can strengthen their profile, presenting themselves first when they're not appearing for the interview? How to do that? What are the main things that they should put in their profile?
Absolutely a very valid question there. And I would like to say here is that you need to have a plan for yourself. If you do not have a plan for yourself, then someone else will hand over their plan to you, and that will become your plan. So whichever path you want to take, have a clarity on that. Do some internships. We are in a very different world now. We are very connected thanks to the internet and the technology. try and take up some internships, some on-the-job trainings that will give you an idea of the industry. Now, when you put that experience into your profile, that will give weightage to your profile.
The internship.
The real world experience that you have. Also, what problem did you solve when you were there? What understanding of the industry did you get there? See, everyone is looking for problem solvers. I am paying someone because they are adding value to my organization. So always have that mindset that what problem am I solving here? So this will help you give weightage to your profile or the resume that you make. And also, if you create your resume basis AI, then everyone else is doing. How are you standing out? So AI is very, very important tool, but treat it just like that, tool, and not a replacement of yourself. It is your assistant. So take help of AI, then put some personalization in it, which I say is your experience, your hobbies. So make it sound human and not totally technical, because they are hiring humans.
I think they hire you also for recruiting. What do you look into those resumes when you are hired for recruiting?
So these days, a lot of scanning is done by AI. That is there. So a lot of keywords are there. There are certain keywords which the technology will look for. So for any profile, when you apply, just see what they're looking for. You will get something which is called a job description. So into the job description, they will mention the skills, both technical and the soft skills which they are looking for. So use those keywords in your profile. That will help you match it. But at the same time, I would say that also do not try to fudge your resume just to fit into the requirement, because you will be caught.
Because ultimately you will have to follow it up with an interview also.
Yes.
So you have cleared the first obstacle. You have made it very clear that how the resume should be made and what are the keywords that should be put in that resume. Now the interview. How should one be preparing for the interview?
So when it comes to interview, first and foremost, I would say that read well about the company that you are going for. The interviewer is always impressed when they know that you have done the homework. You have put in that efforts to know what the company is doing. So, and you will be able to use that information in your answers. You will sound more professional. Second thing is that remember that people are there to hire you. It is their job not to test you and to reject you. Rather, they want people, like if I go as a recruiter, I am supposed to hire 10 people. So I'm looking for those best 10 people. So I'm not here to reject. I'm here to find the best of them. So go with a positive attitude that the person there is not there to reject, but to find the best in me.
That brings to the $1 million question, because once you're through with the interview, the last questions most of the times which comes is, why should we hire you? Now, how to answer that?
So
Give us a Brahmastra now.
So yes, why should I hire you is a brilliant question. And I think one question that comes before that and will help you in answering this question as well is, tell me something about yourself. So that is usually what people start with. Now, what you don't need to do is to tell your personal information. People usually say, my name is so-and-so, I have done graduation in this, post-graduation in this.
Which is already there on the paper.
Which is there. They've already scanned it. You have that limited time, maybe half a minute, 1 minute. You are there to make that impression. Tell them how you can be useful to them on this job. Okay. Match your skills, the qualities that you have with this role. So I have been a president of this and this club in my college where I solve these problems, and I bring these problem solving skills with me to the organization, to this role, and this is how I can help you.
Will the recruiter be interested in if you were president of something? I mean, if only it goes with the present profile, only then you should bring it. Or you should bring it always?
See, I would say that if you are in college right now, try and take part in co-curricular activities, join the clubs that interest you. They will teach you a lot, something that is not taught in the classroom, but is required at the time of interview and in your job. So we call them as behavioral skills. If you are working in a club, then you are learning collaboration. When you go to any job, yes, teamwork. You are not an individual performer anymore. A company doesn't win if an individual wins. A company wins when a team wins. So you should learn how to move away from spotlight and work with everyone in the interest of the company. So it will teach you that. Club will teach you problem solving. Maybe they'll teach you fundraising. They will tell you how to sell yourself. We are always selling.
So the curricular and the internship when you are studying, these are two very important tools apart from your academics.
Yes.
Now again, I'm still at that point. Why should we hire you?
Right. So, like I said, you will start with a job description that was mentioned in the advertisement, or if it's a campus selection, then the mail that was sent to you, the communication. What are they looking for? They can say, we are looking for someone with this degree, along with problem solving skills and a resilient mindset. Now, you have to pick up some examples from your real life and tell how you best match that. So, it's a matchmaking of your skills with the skills that they need. So when they ask you, why should we hire you? Tell them what is it that helps them solve the problem that they are hiring you for.
All said and done, the interview went well, everything has gone well. It was not a physical interview, it was on phone. And you feel that you have done very well and the questions came very nice and the answers came out very nice. And then you are waiting and there is no reply. How do you evaluate yourself after that? Because isn't it compulsory, necessary rather I should say, not compulsory, for the companies when they are done with the interviews, they should also send something that why they have not hired, because generally youngsters don't get that answer and then they feel frustrated. How to cope up with that?
So if I am a recruiter and I am interviewing, let's say, 5,000 people across 50 different colleges, and I am selecting, let's say, 100 students, then the rest of them, it is very difficult for me to send a mail, personal mail as to why we couldn't hire you. Though it is desirable, it will help the student, but it doesn't help the KRAs of the recruiter. It will. So that is something that they are not able to do. However, a self-assessment is something that the student can do. So they can go to their training and placement officer, tell them that this was the question asked, this is what I did, and where do you think the gap is? Why do you think I was not hired? And very important.
So they should take professionals' help even after the interview if they are not qualifying.
Absolutely. And even if you qualify, I say before even the result is announced, go and discuss your interviews. Maybe you have, even if you get selected, there are chances that you have made some mistakes. There are certain areas of improvement.
So I think to make yourself market ready, no school is going to help you. No institution is going to help you. You will have to help yourself. And there are a lot of things. And as Dr. Soumya Tripathi said that AI is a very good tool, but use it as a tool only, not as a replacement of your own intelligence. So if you know yourself, you will sail through. But then even after you have cleared your interviews, still you will have to discuss it. If you have parents at home, they can guide you. If you have such placement cell in your school or college, go back to them. Tell them that this is how it happened and this is how it progressed. Am I lacking in something? Because you should always be prepared for the gap. And number 2, which was very important, she said that this is a time of lifelong skilling, lifelong learning. So, kabhi ye nahi sochna that yes, I am done with my education. The education will follow you and you will have to follow the education. Dr. Soumya, anything more that you want to give as a guru mantra to the youngsters?
One thing that I would like to say is that be resilient. Despite everything that you have done right, things might not go your way. And we have had many such examples in history of successful people, like even if we see Walt Disney or we see J.K. Rowling, they have had their major shares of rejections and failures. Nobody has believed in them. But the first person who needs to believe in you is you yourself. Once you fail, just dust yourself off, rebound, and start all over again.
Start all over again. Thank you so very much, Dr. Soumya, for sparing your time for and being our guest. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You were listening to the weekly program Our Guest that is broadcast every Monday at 9:15 a.m. Don't forget to tune in next week, same day, same time and same frequency for more on Our Guest. Have a nice day.